good evening, and welcome to What's Your Story? My guest tonight is Denise Atkinson. She is a spiritual medium and a psychic. I hope you find her story as fascinating as I did. Welcome to the show, Denise.
Hello, Jim.
Great to have you here tonight. Why don't we start by telling our viewing audience a little bit about you? Like, for example, where were you born?
I was born in Hartford, Connecticut.
Hartford, Connecticut, USA.
Connecticut. That's correct.
All right, about 21 years ago, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
There we go. There you go.
Thank you.
Hospital? What hospital?
I was born at Mount Sinai.
Mount Sinai.
Mount Sinai Hospital.
Is that hospital still working?
It is still working.
It is?
It is.
Where's Mount Sinai in Hartford?
Well, I don't know. I was born there.
That's where you were born.
That's where I was born.
You don't remember much about it.
I know it's in Hartford.
I understand.
And it's still there.
Where did you go to school?
I went to school. My parents moved from Hartford when I was in middle school. So I did Fox Middle School at first, and then I went to East Hartford High.
Okay.
And from East Hartford High, I went to Glastonbury High because I wanted to be a farmer. And I signed up for the Future Farmers of America program.
What was your mascot at East Hartford?
The Hornets.
But you don't remember the Glastonbury?
I don't. I lived in East Hartford, and
Yeah.
I was bussed into Glastonbury, so that's why I remember
Were
East
you a
Hartford.
cheerleader, or did you ever do any of that stuff?
No.
Did you play any sports at school?
I was a swimmer.
Well, talk about that. Come on.
Well, I got a few ribbons for swimming.
What distance swimming?
Oh, not long. I mean, it was just fun.
Yeah, but
fun and stuff. But I did get a few ribbons.
You got a few ribbons swimming?
Yeah.
Hey, come on, give me a shout out here. Give yourself a shout out.
Thank you.
Not many people get ribbons in anything.
That's true.
There we go. You
true.
did. That's terrific. And I understand you went to college. What college did you go to?
I went to St. Joseph's College, which is now St. Joseph's University.
Okay.
And it was an all-girls school at the time. I was a non-traditional student, so I was a little bit older because I had 3 children at the time.
You had 3 kids while you were in school?
3 children, single mom, and I was going to school and holding down a full-time job as a dental assistant, so I did pretty good. I was tired all the time, Jim, but I did it.
Okay, what's the benefit of all women's school that you think?
Well, I think being in an all-women's school, you focus a little bit more on your studies, number one, and I think that it's a community where everyone could build each other up. I think you work on relationship building also. So
would you vote, if you could, to have that sort of educational system now? Do you think it benefits women?
That might get me in trouble, but yes, I think it does benefit women. And I think they've talked about it at some point in time.
You know, so the pendulum may go back.
You never know.
You know, I graduated from a college at one point that was all men. That was Trinity College in Hartford. And the idea was that if you had all males, they would focus more on the studies and not on the cute little cheerleaders and that kind of thing.
That's right.
And so I think maybe our ancestors got it a little bit right, don't you think?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
I think with that they did.
Yeah, they got. I think that we got to give them credit. There's certain things going on in your body chemically as you're young, and you don't need to focus on that. You need to focus on your studies. And
Right,
so,
that's right.
absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
right. And building relationships with your peers.
You know what? I believe that is a critical component to women learning to work together and respecting each other and building each other up. What do you think?
I agree with you,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I think that's critical, and maybe that's lost when it doesn't happen anymore.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, that's too
Yeah.
bad. Well, I hope we go back to that. You alluded earlier to being a single parent with 3 children. How old were your children when you were in school?
They were in, let's see, I think they were in 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. So middle school when I was in college, yeah.
Okay, come on. You got a viewing audience wondering, and many of them out there already know. How did you do it?
I was tired all the time, like I said. I worked, full time. I went to school full time. I had 4 or 5 classes a semester. I had perseverance, determination, and I just want to better my life and better the lives of my children. And that's really what it was all about. So I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college.
What drove you, Denise? What was the burning engine that drove you?
Learn, just to learn, to absorb everything I can possibly absorb.
Why not before the 3 children?
I think when I had my first baby, it was at that moment that I realized I could create something and I could be something greater than I was. I think that sparked that in me, yes. Mm-hmm.
You want to give your kids a shout out? You can.
Hi, Antonio, Daniel, and Olivia.
All right. So you were raised with your father.
I was raised with my dad.
And how did that come about?
My mom was a drug addict back in the 60s. She was a product of her environment. Mm-hmm. And I was sent to live with my dad when I was about 7 years old. And it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. At the time, I wouldn't say it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I felt like I was being abandoned. But I love my dad dearly. And it worked out perfect for me.
Well, let's give Dad a shout out.
Hey, Dad, how you doing?
And let's give Mom a shout out.
Hi, Mom.
There we go. Let's do that.
I love her too.
That's right. Let's do that.
I love both of them.
Absolutely. Being raised by your father, did you have other siblings with you at the time?
My brother, Joe, who is that's my biological brother.
Okay.
And then I have 2 half siblings my dad has with his wife that he's been with since I was probably 3 years old. Jason and Gina, and I have a fabulous relationship with all of them. We're a very close family, and we don't say half brother, half sister, or step. We're a family.
We're just brother and sister.
We're a nice unit.
Okay, so tell our viewing audience, it's hard to look at you and gauge.
Yeah.
What's your ethnic background?
Oh, so my dad is half Italian and his mom is German. And then on my mother's side is the British, the Irish, English,
So you're at odds with yourself all the time?
All the time.
So were you raised with your dad in an Italian tradition, like food, culture, that kind of thing?
Yes, very much so.
Talk about that.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, when my dad was growing up, he obviously lived with both parents, and his grandfather lived with him, my great-grandfather. And so all of that tradition was passed down from my great-grandfather to my grandfather, and my dad brought it into our house. So the food, we love pasta, fishes,
Who doesn't love pasta?
Who doesn't love pasta?
I mean, come on, man. Who doesn't love pasta? That's un-American if you don't like pasta.
That's true. It's American now.
Come on, yeah, absolutely.
So sure.
I understand you've battled some serious physical ailments yourself. Talk to us about that, please.
You're talking about the cancer?
Yes.
I had kidney cancer in 2013, and then I had the thyroid cancer in 2014, and that led to meditation, starting to meditate, which helped me a lot with stress and releasing anything I was holding on to that no longer served me.
Denise, there are many things that we're told in our lives that shock us. None, I can't imagine none more than your child is stillborn or you have cancer. So when you had 2 separate occasions, right? The thyroid and the kidney.
That's correct. My kidney was first in 2013.
Yes.
And then in 2014, my thyroid had to go because I had cancer right in the middle. And then in 2015, I had to have one of my ovaries removed. So it was one right after another. So it was difficult, but I knew it must be the way I'm wired, that I was going to be okay, and that God was with me, and no matter what happened, it was for the higher good.
How did you feel with the diagnosis, the first diagnosis for cancer was given? Did you recall your reaction?
I do. I felt relieved because finally they had a diagnosis for the way I was feeling. I mean, I was complaining that I didn't feel well. I had this deep, deep cough. I had, my bones ached. My hair started falling out. So this kidney, which is only supposed to be the size of your fist, was the size of 2 fists.
Oh boy.
And it was kind of shaped like a monster. And it was just sucking the life out of me. So when they said, oh, we found what your problem is, I was relieved. And even the doctor said to me, geez, when we deliver this kind of information, people break down and cry. She says, you're like, about time. And I really was. It was about time someone found out what was wrong with me. And it worked out perfectly. I knew the surgery was going to be positive, and then I would be okay. So a year later, after the kidney was removed, just about a year, I started to lose my hair again. And they found the cancer in my thyroid. And I ended up going on for surgery on the same day as my grandmother's birthday, which I didn't even realize at that time, October 23rd. And when I came out of that surgery, I told my stepmother, I saw my grandmother. I don't remember this because obviously I'm coming right out of surgery.
Sure.
She's the one who told me, and that was October 23rd.
Now, being part Italian, were you raised as a Catholic?
Yes, I'm Catholic.
And could you tell us a little bit about that background?
Well, my parents went to church only when my grandfather was alive, and so when I was very young, I went to church with my grandfather. So once he passed in '77, we no longer went to church, but we still had those values and the belief.
What impact did the church have on you?
I think from a very young age, it impacted me because I always, even when my family stopped going to church, I always had a little Mary that would sit on my desk. And so that was a reminder of something greater than me, something bigger, larger.
And you're still a practicing Catholic?
I do go to church. Okay. I do go to St. Mary's.
I'm sorry, I'm ignorant about the Catholic faith. Is there still confession?
Yes.
That's done?
Yes, yeah. Yes.
And you participate in that?
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I go.
Is there a reason you don't do the...
Well, I'm not in good standing. You can say that. Plus, I'm a medium and a psychic.
You're antithetical to the church.
Thank you. Yes. That's putting it nicely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, but I like to go, and I find peace in it.
All right.
So,
good.
Yeah.
Now, when we talked before this interview, it got pretty personal. And
Yes.
You told me that a tragedy happened to you, a personal tragedy, when you were 9 years old. And as a result of that occurrence, you were able to focus on what you call your gift. Would you elaborate a little bit on that for us, please?
Sure. So within the tragedy, I heard a voice, and that voice was basically telling me some things, and I listened to it. And I always knew, even before that incident, that I was never alone. I always felt spirit around me. And that just confirmed it for me, that voice. And I don't hear voices all the time when I do a reading, but there are times when I have heard. So.
Had you listened to your gift that particular day,
it would not have happened.
it would not have happened to you.
It would have not happened. That's correct, because I was told.
Very
I was
clearly.
warned very clearly, as you and I are sitting here, you're hearing my voice.
Yeah.
I was warned, and I didn't listen.
Okay.
So it's a very good thing to listen to your intuition. I mean, it can save you, right? And it can help you with life-altering choices.
Why do you call it a gift?
Because I feel like it comes from God. I really do. I think it's a gift from God.
And what purpose would God give you that kind of gift for?
Oh, to look after you, so that you can hear Him. Sure.
You're used as a vessel?
As a vessel, as a channel.
A channel to get...
channel, and to help other people with it.
Surely you must have skeptics.
Oh, of course. Those are the best people to read.
Really?
Oh, sure.
And why? What makes a skeptic a challenge?
Well, because I'm a evidential medium, and so
What is that?
It means that I give you evidence. So if you come in and I'm reading you, you sit down, I say a prayer, and I'm reading you, and I tell you that I have your Father here without you speaking to me. I want no information from you. I want just your first name. And I'm not looking at you, and I tell you your Father is here, and I give you evidence of what he died from, he liked baseball, or he was in the service, and this is where he served, and I see him overseas. And I just start giving you all of this information. I mean, I'm not looking you up. I don't have your last name. I don't know, how he dressed, when he died, his birthday month, possibly. I mean, whatever comes through, comes through. That's the evidence part of it. I mean, where does that come from? Not from me. So I just channel the information.
And as a teenager, right, in high school, did you have the same power?
I don't call it power.
Gift, the same
I
gift.
call it a gift.
I'm sorry, do you have the same gift?
And I had the same gift then, and my friends knew it also. Yeah, I did.
So how were you received? I mean, were you a weirdo?
I was a weirdo. Sure, I was. A little different, strange. It's funny that you bring that up. I had a girl that I went to high school with find me on Facebook and call me up, and she said to me, "I always knew you were different." She saw that I had medium on my Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
And spiritual intuitive, and she said, "I just want to tell you that I always thought you were special and that you were always beautiful." And that was really nice to hear, you know? So they knew it. I knew it. I kind of hid it a little bit, but friends would call me up and ask me, "What do you think of this person?" or "What do you think of that?" And I would give them information, and they'd say, how come you're so right? And, you know, it was a gift.
Well, you know what the
It
obvious...
was a gift.
Okay, the obvious question then is, how come your gift didn't work for you in terms of having you be a single parent? I mean, the choices you make in your personal life.
Oh, because I don't listen to myself all the time.
Okay.
I'm not listening to the soul talk to me all the time. You know, I do sit in meditation and I do get things from me. I do, and it does work for me at times, but I'm busy. I'm running around doing things, and so my gift is for other people. I'm sharing it with other people.
Isn't it odd that a gift that helps so many others can't be used to help you?
Well, I do use it to help me. I mean, you know, my 3 children are supposed to be here. I was supposed to have that connection with their father. I was supposed to, you know, be a single mother for a short time. I think things are just supposed to happen like that, and we're supposed to learn from them and grow from them. And, you know, that's just our path.
So the journey that you had, how did you raise your kids by yourself?
For some time I did, and then I got married.
Okay.
I met one of my soulmates, you know, I got married, and then that marriage ended. I lived in the Middle East for a while with
We're going to
him.
get there.
Okay, all right.
We're going to talk about that.
So, and then I got married, and then I ended up getting divorced, and, you know, I met someone else, and I've been married for 12 years now.
Okay, all right. So do you give advice to family members, or do they, how does your family receive you?
Oh, they love me. They love me. They don't really call me up for advice or for information, or they don't, you know, I'm just a normal sister, daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
You build yourself as a spiritual medium and a psychic. Okay, the viewing audience wants to know, inquiring minds want to know.
Okay.
What is that exactly?
Well, a spiritual medium is a person that connects on the other side. The spiritual part of it for me is basically it's God. That's where it comes from for me. So that's the spiritual part of it for me, the component. And I'm a medium who connects with the other side. That veil is very thin. And, you know, it's like my soul and the soul of the person on the other side cross for just a brief moment, and then all of the information is downloaded. That's kind of putting it into contemporary terms.
Wow.
And that's what happens. And the mediumship part of it, I mean, psychic part of it is the clairvoyancy, the all-knowing, the feeling of it.
You get a special feeling?
I do. I mean, when I feel that there is a male spirit or a father spirit coming through, I feel him on the left side of me. When I feel a woman coming through, I feel her on the right side of me. So that's how it works for me. It's energy. I feel the energy, the movement of the energy.
What is the other side?
What do you mean?
What do you mean by you connect with the other side? What is that?
The side of the people who have left us.
So the dead.
The dead, yeah, that have crossed over, that have transitioned.
Are they trying to connect with us?
Well, I believe they are. I believe they are. I mean, they want me to tell you things like they love you, they miss you, they can't wait to see you, and they're sorry possibly for things that have happened in the past. And all those things are wonderful.
Yes,
I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, it has to be the evidence. It has to be, he liked to wear turtlenecks, or he liked to dress this way, or he liked baseball, or his birthday was in October, or those types of things. It's the evidence that carries that love through. That's how I feel.
Does it matter how long the person's been gone, or?
No, they could be gone a week. It doesn't matter for me.
Have you connected with anyone in your family who's gone?
Yes.
All right, talk to us, please.
Yes. Okay. So I was driving in my car, and a song came on, and it just instantly brought me to my aunt, who I adored, who left very early, and I just started talking to her. Geez, I miss you. You really, should have been here a lot longer, and it would be great to see you. And we had so many wonderful times together. And I just started reminiscing out loud. And I just had this overwhelming feeling of love and goosebumps everywhere. So I knew from that song, from that moment of thinking of her, that I was connecting with her on that level.
Are people astounded when you talk to them about their relatives who have gone on, and you give evidence of it?
I do.
And how do people react to that?
People are shocked. Some people are shocked. Some people cry. Some people are very, everyone's grateful for the information. There's a lot of healing that takes place. There's a lot of healing that takes place from a reading. I mean, you could go to therapy for months and not get anywhere. And then I bring something through that no one knows but you or the person that's sitting across from me. It can be very healing. And that's really what it's all about.
Are there people who are not readable, so to speak? Are some more difficult than others?
Yes. Yes, I mean, if you come in and you're kind of blocked and you don't really want to be read and you're skeptic and, you come in with that type of attitude, you can be difficult to read. I mean, if you're blocking me, then I can't, I can, but it's a little bit more difficult, so.
Men or women easier? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter because I'm not looking at the person. For like a cold reader would, fish around for information.
Yes.
And you'd look at body language. I don't do that. I kind of look off to the side somewhere and I let the person know that's sitting across from me that if I'm not looking at you, it's only because I don't want to see your body movement. I don't really want to hear you talking. I want you to say yes or no. That's it. Yes, that's correct. No, that's not correct. And then maybe I change it a little bit and it's yes, that's correct. I'm not looking for body language. I'm looking to connect on a soul-to-soul level, to touch someone's heart, to heal someone.
I told you she had a fascinating story. This is part 1 of part 2. Stick around. Denise Atkinson will be back for part 2. Everybody has a story. What's yours? Denise will be back for part 2.